Guys, welcome back. I am Anushri and you're watching Legathon. The topic for today's discussion is, are encounter killings legal? In this video, we'll talk about what are encounter killings, a little bit of Vikas Dubey encounter case, what were some famous encounter cases in India, why is encounter creating controversy, and are encounters justified or when can they be justified, and ultimately derive to the question whether encounter killings are legal after studying certain Supreme Court guidelines. So before proceeding to this video, I'd like to request all of you to watch this video till the end, because there is a quiz attached towards the end of this video and you can get all the answers right if you watch this without skipping. So yeah, let's get into the video. Before that, subscribe if you have not subscribed to our channel yet. Yes. An encounter is a substitute used to describe extrajudicial killing by the police or armed forces in order to execute a criminal or under trial accused, etc. Initially, we have to talk about some history of encounter. It was used in rare cases in order to, self-defense of police. But especially as far as India is concerned, when we talk about 1990 to 2000, the Mumbai police used encounter to cripple the underworld. That is when India came up with the word called as encounter specialist, and that is how encounter started creating buzz as far as India is concerned. In almost all cases where encounters have taken place, it is done for self-defense of police officer. When a criminal is arrested, during the time of arrest or after the arrest as well, when the criminal tries to flee or escape or open fires on the police officer in charge of such arrest, then encounters happen. The killing of UP gangster Vikas Dubey has stirred up a lot of controversy and has been in limelight for almost a month now. So who is Vikas Dubey? Vikas Dubey was the UP gangster who was the main accused in killing of 8 policemen in Kanpur, and he was allegedly shot dead in an encounter that took place on 10th of July 2020. So how did this encounter happen in the first place? According to UP police, the special task force was bringing him back from Ujjain to Kanpur, during which the vehicle which carried Vikas Dubey toppled. And that is when Vikas Dubey tried to flee, and not just this, it is alleged that Vikas Dubey tried to fire on the policemen, and that is how this encounter happened. Now why is this creating a lot of buzz? It's because in the previous week before Vikas Dubey was being encountered, 5 other associates who were also the accused in killing of 8 policemen were shot dead in a similar encounter. That is why especially Vikas Dubey's encounter is being speculated as fake encounter or a staged encounter. If we look back, it is not just Vikas Dubey's encounter which has created a sensation. If we remember the recent, in December 2019, the Hyderabad encounter where the 4 alleged who were accused of raping and murdering a Hyderabad women were shot dead by Hyderabad police. Then we have Veerappan's encounter, we have Batla House encounter on which a famous Bollywood movie is made. We have Bhopal jail encounter, Manipur extrajudicial killing, encounter of Tulsiram Prajapat, Sohrabuddin Sheikh, or be it Ishrat Jahan. The list goes on. Encounters are really sensitive topic because there is no way we as common people can know that whether that encounter was real encounter or was it a staged encounter. That brings us to our next question: why are encounters problematic or controversial? In order to understand that, we need to look back at Article 21 of Indian Constitution, which states that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. What does that mean is, any person who is an accused, be it a criminal or a terrorist or a common man, should be put into trial according to the procedural laws of the country. In such a trial, he should be made aware of the charges against him, he should be given a chance to defend himself, he should be given a chance to produce evidence on his behalf, and after all this, if the court still finds him guilty, only then a death penalty can be awarded to him. Here it is important to remember that death penalty is not given in all cases. Death penalty can be awarded only in rarest of the rare cases. So considering this background, if we look into encounters on the other hand, encounter killings are basically circumventing all the procedural law. It is sidestepping the procedures which needs to be followed. So a person is not at all put through trial, and without any trial he is being killed. This is why encounters are controversial. The second reason could be that there is always a scope for misuse of power. We as common people will never know whether that was a real encounter or fake encounter. The third reason could be that the person who got killed in an encounter can actually be innocent. We were supposed to put him on trial, and without trial, if he is killed, we will never know if he is guilty or innocent. When are encounters legal or when are encounters justified? At the outset, there are no specific or explicit laws which says encounters are legal, or it doesn't say a police officer can encounter someone and kill them. No, there are no such laws. Then if you ask me how are encounters happening anyway, I would say there are certain enabling provisions, be it in our penal code or in our procedural laws, by virtue of which encounter killings are happening in our country. So let's see what are those enabling provisions now. First is section 96 of Indian Penal Code, which basically talks about right of self-defense. It says nothing is an offence which is done in exercise of right of private defense. Second is section 100, which is basically an extension of 96. It lays down the circumstances when the right of private defense can extend up to causing death of a person. Third is exception to section 300 of IPC, which says a culpable homicide is not murder if the offender, that is the person who is killing, is a public servant and he causes a death of another person in exercise of his public official duty, and he feels it was necessary for public justice to kill such a person, then such death will not be considered as murder. The fourth and the final enabling provision is section 46 of CRPC, which says if a person is an accused of an offence which is punishable with death or life imprisonment, and if he tries to avoid or attempt to avoid the arrest, in such cases killing of that person or basically encounter of such person are justified. So these were some of the provisions which, although not directly but are indirectly enabling the police or armed personnel to undertake encounter killings. I said, since encounter killings are problematic in the first place, there was a need felt to bring in certain guidelines to regulate encounter killings in India. The first regulation which came up in India was in 1997 when NHRC, that is National Human Rights Commission, laid down certain guidelines under chairmanship of Justice M.N. Venkatachalaya in the backdrop of increased complaints with respect to fake encounters. So that is when we got guidelines like registering FIR if encounter takes place, or in putting up an inquiry on that, etc. However, in the year 2010, these guidelines were again extended by NHRC, where certain other guidelines were added to this, which said that reports should be sent to commissioner and there should be magisterial probe into this, etc. But however, it is important to understand that it was not until 2014 where Supreme Court laid down 16-point guideline in PUCL versus State of Maharashtra that these guidelines were not concrete until then. So let's see what are those guidelines now. Nice. 1. Record of tip. So here, whenever the police station receives any intelligence that a criminal activity is happening, it should record such tip in writing in its police diary. 2. Register of FIR. It means if encounter results in death of a person, then immediately registration of FIR is mandatory. 3. Independent probe. So apart from the police team which was part of encounter, other independent team or other police team will be appointed to investigate into such encounter, or even CID will investigate. 4th is magisterial inquiry. Under section 176 of CRPC, a magistrate of the concerned territorial jurisdiction will undertake the inquiry of such encounter. 5. NHRC to be informed. Either National Human Rights Commission or State Human Rights Commission must be immediately informed if an encounter results in death of any person. 6. Medical aid. So the victim who got shot or who got killed in encounter should be provided immediate medical attention. 7. No delay. All these above procedures which I laid on, be it preparing of FIR or Panchnama or sending of police diary to the court, all these should be undertaken expeditiously without any delay. 8. Report should be sent to the court. All the investigation whichever happened should be properly sent to a court in form of a report. 9 is information to the kin. The person or the victim who got shot, who was the victim in such encounter, his immediate kin or relatives should be informed. 10. Submission of biannual report. So whatever encounter has taken place every 6 months, such report should be sent by DGP to the National Human Rights Commission. 11th is disciplinary action. If at all it is found out in inquiry that there was a fake encounter, then such police officer who did the encounter will be suspended. 12 is compensation. The victim who got shot or injured or dead in the encounter shall be given some monetary compensation. 13 is surrendering of weapons. The police officer by whose weapon the encounter happened, his weapon should be submitted to forensic analysis. 14th is legal aid to officer. The police officer who was involved in encounter will also be given a legal aid free of cost to defend himself in court of law. 15th, no promotion or gallantry awards. So immediately when an encounter takes place, no appreciation or gallantry awards shall be given to the police officer. 16th, grievance redressal. So all these above 15 points, if it has not been followed, then the family of victim can go and make a complaint to sessions judge of their concerned territorial jurisdiction and get their grievances redressed. So these were the 16-point guidelines which should be followed in case an encounter takes place. In the conclusion, I would like to say whether a democratic country like India should follow or stick on to constitutional norms, procedural law, rule of law, or should it just discard everything and stick on to measures of retributive justice and bring speedy justice by giving police power to encounter the victim which police thinks as victim. So if police are given the power to decide guilt of a person, then what will be the role of judiciary or even courts in this country? Yes, there is another debate to this argument which says that it is duty of the state to encourage police to curb antisocial activity. But isn't it the duty of the state also to put a limitation on misuse of power? The current laws are nowhere enough to prevent misuse of power, because encounter is so deep rooted in the society. If we see the past few incidents, encounters are vehemently accepted by public are accepting encounters, especially when we talk about certain people who are accused of a grave offense. But don't you think as citizens of this country it is time ripe to question ourselves whether encounters are extreme manifestation of illegal exercise of power by police? I leave this question open to you, and do let me know what you think about this in the comment section. And I think with that we bring an end to this video. This will be followed by a quiz. Enjoy the quiz, and yes, thanks for watching this video.